Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of Must Starts here on Football Guys. My name is Daniel Harms, fantasy film analyst, and before we get going, I'm all about food. I create football content. I'm going to be creating food content at some point, and Christmas dinner is my baby. My wife does Thanksgiving, I do Christmas dinner. So I want to know what you guys do for your main protein on Christmas Day. For me, I do a prime rib and I smoke it. I get about a 6-pound prime rib, boneless, and I smoke that bad boy on my Traeger. So I'm interested to hear what you guys do for your holiday dinners, whatever it ends up being. Put that down in the comments. And also, who was your MVP of the opening round of the playoffs and got you into the semifinals? That's what we're here to talk about today. Semifinal matchups. And I want to talk about one guy off the top, Raheem Mostert, running back 21 on Football Guys weekly ranks. This one's a little confusing to me. He's the RB2 on the season for a reason. The Miami Dolphins do a fantastic job of getting Raheem Mostert into space with multiple different avenues to get there. And I love that they're just so unique in the way that they create a lot of this cross action motion. So you're going to get that wide receiver coming across. And this is just, they make it look like zone, like so simple, so simplistic, and you just get players out here. So with the way that the defense is lined up here, it allows both guards to just take their players, and then everybody else is going to line in to the second level. You get a block down here, wall them off, just let Mostert get to the second level however you can. And I love the uniqueness in this space. You don't have to have a great offensive line to get everybody out. Look at how they get this, almost like a screen, the way that it sets up. You've got players here, and then all out here, letting Raheem Mostert get going. And this year he's the RB5 in points per game with 18.4. And I'm not even here picking on the Dallas defense, which I definitely could. I think they're going to have mostly a bounce back game. But against the Jets, Mostert had 2 touchdowns. And yes, we get into the Dallas defense, who's missing Jonathan Hankins. I don't know if he's going to play for this football game, but his interior run defense has been a hugely important explanation for how they've been good to this point. Also, getting out to leads early, being able to force teams to throw the football and not run it has hit a little bit of their warts in the run game. This is another one of those concepts here. They're going to motion the tight end out here in this jet motion and get him out blocking. But they do this interesting. They did it on last play too. It's where they're going to fake the ball this way out to the right, and then they're going to have Mostert swing back around, and they're going to pitch it to him. And it creates movement from the defensive line. All they need to do is get him to the edge. With Mostert being that goal line back, all they want to do is just get him hesitation in the second level. You got a little bit of motion here, a little bit of motion here, and all it is just getting him to the end zone. So you have pursuit angles that get ruined because of a little bit of eye candy at the line of scrimmage with the motion, and then like they're going to counter the opposite way of it. You get 21 and 57 coming downhill to the right of the offensive line, and then Mostert's easy in for a touchdown. So I don't even think Mostert needs to have a huge game against the Cowboys on the ground, but he's scored 2 touchdowns in 3 of the past 4 games, and he's scored 4 total touchdowns against the New York Jets defense, which is much better than the Dallas Cowboys. So this is where I love to see, this is where I love to watch the Miami Dolphins offenses. They come out here in like 22 personnel almost. It's 21 with the tight end attached here, but you have Ingold, and he's just going to lead block. So they're going to motion the tight end out, who's going to come out and block. The fullback's going to come out and block, and they get a block down. The center's going to get out here, and you get the guys on the second level, and it's just getting Mostert into space. They have done a fantastic job of getting Devin Achane involved a lot more, but Raheem Mostert's been their big go-to back whenever they get into the red zone and whenever they get going as an offense and get into that early down mode and running the football. It's been Raheem Mostert, and it's been one of the big reasons why their offense has been so explosive. So I'm a big fan of Raheem Mostert in general. The fact that he's at running back 21 on this week, I think is a really good value for a lot of players. I think he's still going to put up a lot of numbers. He's going to get in the end zone multiple times, most likely. And he has the ability to score on a screen pass as well from the Miami Dolphins offense. So expect something different from the Miami Dolphins this week. A little bit of trickery against the Cowboys because the Miami's still in play for the number 1 seed. So don't rule out them try to put up the number on the Cowboys. So Raheem Mostert's a must start for me. Absolutely. Not just the matchup, but the fact that this offense has been scoring so much, and he has continued to put up a ridiculous amount of touchdowns. 20 on the season, tied with Christian McCaffrey. Start him. Absolutely. The next guy I want to talk about, one of my favorite players, one of my favorite wide receivers, Amari Cooper. He's wide receiver 20 on Football Guys weekly ranks, and we've really kind of seen a resurgence from him with Joe Flacco under center. What we've seen for the most part is that the Browns have kind of formulated into this passing attack. They've done a really nice job of getting Joe Flacco comfortable, and he's kind of unlocking Amari Cooper. A 68% drop back rate since Joe Flacco took over at quarterback, and we just see them kind of isolate Amari Cooper. And Joe Flacco, even though he's a bit older, he does have that sense to get outside the pocket. And I just love watching Amari Cooper play, because he's, again, going to come out here, hesitate, get through hands at the break point of his route, break open over the middle of the field. Joe Flacco is going to get outside the pocket. As soon as he looks back for the football and sees Joe getting out the pocket, he takes this upfield. One, he's already processed that there's no defense to the right-hand side of the offense, so he just takes it up. He's already beaten that corner to his spot right here, that little speed dilation in his route, and then takes it upfield, gets a big play, goes up and gets that football with the corner draped all over him. So I think Joe Flacco have a really good downfield connection. He's also got a really nice understanding of how to take advantage of those spots in the defense that don't have anybody there, that space, taking advantage of it when Joe Flacco gets out of the pocket, which he still does kind of routinely for an older guy at his size and his, kind of diminished speed. So again, Amari Cooper, not just the technician, ability to manipulate corners into doing whatever he needs them to. He doesn't get the ball here. We see Joe Flacco go out and make another play to Elijah Moore, but this is just a really nice job here of manipulating that corner. He's going to send him to the slant first and then make like he's going to take it vertical like he did on the last play we just watched. And instead, we see, again, you're going to take it up, hit that, come out here a little bit, and then come out to the curl back to it. So he sends the cornerback downfield by manipulating the space and the blind spot right here. So it looks like he's going to take it to the corner, to the slant, and then it looks like he's going to take it upfield. And instead, he stops in that blind spot of the corner right there, sends him upfield, creates a huge window for Joe Flacco to throw the football. This is something consistently for Amari Cooper. And over the last 2 games, Amari Cooper has 22 targets, 168 yards, and a touchdown. I think that that's just indicative of what the Cleveland offense needs to do. They haven't been as impactful running the ball. Their offensive line's been injured. That's part of the reason they've been throwing the ball so much. And then you have just plays like this. I think he and Joe Flacco see the game the same way. This ends up being a big touchdown. But I think this is an underrated playoff atmosphere as well. Both of these teams are in the wild card race, and they have to continue to win football games. And one of the big ways that the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to do that is by throwing the football. And they're going to run a little play action here. Running backs can go out to the flat. Amari Cooper's up here at the top of your screen. He's running a deep over route. He's just going to take this down the field, but it's almost like it's pretty much a dagger concept. You have Elijah Moore with that deep clear out, and then you have Amari Cooper coming underneath that and into the window. The Bears defense did not account for the deep over route. They figured they'd be able to get into the window. So you see here, he's taking it. It's like a deep cover 2 with the safety playing here and Jaquan Brisker kind of having eyes down the right-hand side. Joe Flacco sees the window. He only wants this. This is exactly what he wants to throw it into, and it's a beautifully thrown football on the money, right in front of that dipping corner, underneath corner, and Amari Cooper does the rest. So really nice scheme that we're seeing. Again, they kind of motion the running back out to the left-hand side. They pull a guard to block in front of Joe Flacco, and then they just get Amari Cooper on that deep over route across the middle of the field with the clear out. So Cooper is a big play for me the rest of the season. I think he's going to have a really nice outlook with Joe Flacco at quarterback. They're playing well, and I know that they're going on the road this week, but it is in a dome, so I'm not super worried about the weather. It's Joe Flacco anyway. He just did this in Cleveland weather. So I do believe Amari Cooper is a must start no matter what the rest of the season. The number one target, and he and Joe Flacco have really found a good chemistry. I like what they're doing, and I think Cooper is going to continue to put up numbers every single week. The next guy who's kind of having a little bit of a resurgence lately that I'm really high on the way that they're using him specifically is Chris Godwin, who's wide receiver 24 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks. Tampa Bay's offense has really consolidated over the last 2 weeks. Evans and Godwin have accounted for about 60% of the team's total targets, and that really is the big thing for me, is that Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator, has really done a good job of finally identifying what they need to do with Chris Godwin. So early in the season, he was playing a large majority of his snaps on the outside. And Chris Godwin, he's really more of a slot receiver. Like he just is. His slot usage is nearing 45% of the snaps in the last month. And from 2019 to 2022, Godwin was predominantly a slot receiver, receiving about over 63% of his snaps every season in the slot. That's something that they really have figured out. And this is just an easy way to get him the ball. They're going to see all this off coverage right here, and they're just going to run a little bit of a kind of a slant with Cade Otton, and they're just going to run a curl behind it. They got one defender here in this area, and they're scheming up Chris Godwin to get more targets, to get easier targets, and get him in rhythm, because him and Mike Evans are both rhythm-based players. Also, I think that Baker Mayfield is a big rhythm player, and their offense is hitting its stride right now in the run game and the passing game. Their offensive line's playing better. Baker Mayfield's playing better, and they've gotten their 1-2 punch with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans really playing better. And Godwin has seen 23 targets in the last 2 weeks, and he hasn't scored a touchdown over the last 2 weeks, but he finally saw a huge exchange in his, a huge blow up in his yardage. And a lot of this is because of what they're doing. They're making a lot of their offense seem like they're going to run the ball. This is a very unique play. They're going to motion Keeft out to the right-hand side here, attach him to the detached to the right-hand side of the offensive line. And then how they get to this play is very, like I said, it's very unique. They're going to motion both of these players on the snap. Like they're pulling both of these guys to block to the left-hand side of the offense. The center is going to come out here and pull and switch places with them. And again, you're going to see all these these linebackers right here get sucked up because of the motion behind the line of scrimmage. And it's just going to allow Chris Godwin to come out here and just run this almost, again, like a dagger concept where you have this underneath route and Mike Evans clearing it out. But watch the confusion in the backfield. This is a mess, by the way. There's so many things going on. The play action fake. You've got guys pulling. You have the center coming down here. Again, those linebackers are all coming up. You have 2 players down here in the back end for the Green Bay defense. And look, you can't let Mike Evans get behind you, so that safety has to reroute himself. So this is just a really unique play. Dave Canales is doing a fantastic job of scheming up this offense right now. He's really hitting his stride. And the best part about it is it's getting Chris Godwin and Mike Evans more involved. That is the big point of their offense. They have to continue to do that with Baker Mayfield playing the way he is right now. Really, really good job from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. And like I said, playing him more in the slot is just what you have to do. This is beautiful work from that's the wrong guy. My apologies. I just labeled Trey Palmer. Chris Godwin's out here on the outside, but he's off the line of scrimmage, so he's playing more as a Z receiver. Getting him off the line of scrimmage is a big thing. So they're going to run another clear out route with Trey Palmer and run a corner route behind it. Really nice ball placement from Baker Mayfield. And that's another thing too, is like when I'm talking about Baker playing better, is that he's accurately throwing the football to all levels of the field. And this is another one of those spots right here. Again, Trey Palmer coming down here, clearing out for Chris Godwin. And you get, this is a second and long play. And Baker just puts it on him. He makes that play and he goes and he gets it. So Chris Godwin, a big fan favorite for lots of years over the past couple of seasons with Tom Brady. I think right now, He's playing good football, but the offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, and the offense itself with Baker is finally finding itself. Run game, play action, and hit the big shots over the middle of the field. And Chris Godwin is finally getting more involved. So Jacksonville is 9th in points given up to wide receivers this season. And I do think that this hot streak for the last 2 weeks for Chris Godwin is going to continue, consolidate the offense, and get moving towards the postseason and winning that division. So Tampa Bay is in that position. Chris Godwin's a must start for me. Last player, getting back to some tight end plays this week. And one of the guys that I was a huge fan of coming out of Coastal Carolina, Isaiah Likely, tight end 10 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks. And this is a little bit of a 1-2 matchup punch. This is a game that I believe is going to be very interesting, very intriguing. Baltimore against the San Francisco 49ers. I know what you're thinking, that I don't want to play any tight end against their linebacker crew. Fred Warner's just too good. Well, I'll tell you what, Trey McBride just went off against the 49ers defense, but it's because they lined him up in the slot more. They got him matched up with corners, smaller players than Fred Warner. And anybody who's not Fred Warner, that's who you're going to match him up against. And this is just a good example of Isaiah Likely being on the same page with Lamar Jackson, who gets out of the pocket a lot. He's covered right here. Actually has 2 defenders kind of closing in on him here, so he's going to find a way around and maneuver around and then get into open spaces. Lamar's getting out to his left. You see Isaiah Likely do a really good job of saying, look, I'm open. You can throw me the football. He is a safety net for Lamar Jackson, and they've really developed a nice chemistry. He is a matchup problem. You can move him you can move on the outside, he can play in the slot, and you can attach him to the line of scrimmage like we've seen a couple of times already. He was more in line versus the Jags linebackers because they're not very good. He should see more slot work against the 49ers, and he did against the Chargers and the Rams. So the Ravens are doing a nice job of moving him around. You see him attached at the right-hand side here with the Ravens in 12 personnel. You get that feel. They're going to motion Zay Flowers from left to right, and they're going to make this look like it's a screen to him coming out into the flat. You get both the tight end Kohler look and Isaiah Likely look like they're going to come out and block these players. And then they both take their routes from these points and they just kind of angle them inside. Really nice scheme design, getting Isaiah Likely into the open spot of the field here. There's that release. The safety has to take this tight end here because his path to the end zone is immediately in his path. And Isaiah Likely just goes up the seam there. Lamar finds him for the touchdown. Nice job all the way around. He's running routes at the second highest rate on the team, and he's got a 21% target share in the last 3 games since Mark Andrews has gotten hurt. He's got a touchdown in back-to-back weeks, and he really has been a go-to target for Lamar Jackson. And one of the big examples right there, he's a dog. He plays above the rim very well for a guy who's more known as a space player and maybe an undersized tight end, to be fair, kind of a slot tight end, a Y tight end, guys that just move around. He's just going to kind of find himself in the middle of the field here. And Lamar, again, doing his thing in the back end. He got pressure in his face, making guys miss. And then Isaiah Likely's like, hey, look, I'm open. Throw me the football. Lamar's like, yeah, go get that. And he does. Goes up, out muscles that guy for the ball, and just gets it. I love Isaiah Likely this week. I think he's a big matchup problem, and they're going to continue to move him around the formation and get him lined up against corners and against safeties, and that's where you can really exploit that matchup. So a game where the Baltimore Ravens maybe have to score more points than they're used to, and you got to force feed some of your better players. So Isaiah Likely is a big time start for me, regardless of anything like that. Tight end 10 on the weekly ranks, but I think he finishes in the top 5 this week once again. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The film breakdowns, everything, the stats, and again, make sure you guys are in the comment section letting me know what your protein is for Christmas. Like, I gotta know. Food is my thing. So if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button, and hopefully I was able to earn a like from you guys from this video breakdown. Have yourselves a fantastic holiday season. I'll see you guys next week for championship week. Have a great day.